Welcome back to another video and another weigh in update. If it is your first time here, my name is Beck. Thank you so much for joining me. So last week, if you remember last week's video, I don't know why I'm laughing because it wasn't funny. My scales told me that I'd put on £9. So without arguing with them, I had to take it, even though I suspected there's something maybe a little bit off. Like I say, without blaming the scales, because I knew that week before I had been on it, and I had been really on it. So I thought, don't let it deter you because you've been doing so well. And it's little things like that that can put a spanner in the works and just set you off in a different direction, shall we say. So I thought, let's just plod on and see how we do and try not to let it upset the mindset that I was in. So that's what I did. In the meantime, ordering a new set of scales twice and just taking each day again, but not really taking each day because I did plan things, I did meal prep, and in that sense I had a really good week. So I feel, and I still feel it now, I feel a lot more focused than I have been. And do you know what I'm going to say? And I was saying this to Adele yesterday. If you feel like you're not in the right headspace, which I didn't do when I started back doing this, and I thought, you know what, I don't feel like I am, but I know that I need to start it to get into the mindset. Does that make sense? So I wasn't feeling it, and I thought, if I just wake up in the morning and start the day as I mean to go on, have a few things planned, have a few things prepared that I know I'm going to have for food that day, the next day. And then one good day just led on to the next good day. And then having a couple of good days made me want to carry on. So my best advice would be, if anybody is struggling at the moment and thinking, do you know what, I haven't got the head for this, I'm not in the right mindset, don't put it off. Just get back to it. Get back to planning those meals, or to doing that shopping, or to just getting back into being under your calories for that day, if that's what you want to do. Everyone is different. Everyone is different. Everybody treats these journeys, because that's what they are, differently. And I'm not the most organised of people. I really, if you've been here a long time, you will know that I am one of the least organised people that I know. I'd love to be organised. I've got all the thoughts up there, but sometimes life just takes over, and that is what it is. You have a busy day and you can't meal plan for that day. You can't cook the food for that day. And on days like that, you just need to do whatever it takes to get by, to get through it. And that is my best advice to you, is if you are not in the right headspace and you feel like you're not quite there yet, don't put it off. Just get stuck back into it, because by doing that, it leads on to better days. And that's my best advice. So there we are. End of that little, it wasn't a lecture. But ordered the new scales. They came on Saturday, so I didn't weigh until yesterday. And I thought, rather than rushing a video that wasn't going to be great, because I had so many things, I was here, there and everywhere yesterday, and then we had people over in the evening because the football was on. Man United Arsenal, if you're not a fan. Yeah, so that's a big game in our house. Anyway, I knew I wouldn't get it done, so I thought I'd put it off until this morning. Hence why my blinds are still closed, because it's still early morning. It's only 7 o'clock. And let me tell you, we have no water. We have no water. We have a little tiny trickle of water. Not great. Not great. So I don't know what will happen work-wise, whether we're allowed to open, because they're in the same area as I live. So I'm going to go in and see what happens. But I've checked on the Dŵr Cymru website, because that's where our water is from. And Dŵr Cymru tell me that last night they told me it was coming back on early hours of this morning. Now it says it's coming back later this morning. So if that gets pushed back again, I really don't know what's going to happen. Where was I going with this? Anyway, so yeah, my scales. Oh, that's what I was telling you. So my scales came Saturday. I weighed yesterday, and I don't need to do my book anymore because it's all digital. It's all connected to my phone, which I am loving so far. And I'm going to reply to some comments before I go to work now. I saw that Julie wants a bit of a review, which I will be more than happy to do. Already I'm loving them. So simple, so many stats, it's brilliant. And I will, yeah, definitely keep you updated with them. They seem brilliant. Let's hope it stays that way. No, and not just because they gave me a good result. So when I got on the scales yesterday morning, I thought I'm going to get on my own scales and compare. You're going to do that, aren't you, when it's a new scales? So I got on my scales and I had 3 different readings, hence the reason I needed new ones. And these new ones, I'm going to say 2, but the 2 that I had were something like 0.02 of a pound. So it's not even a real half pound or quarter of a pound, anything. It was because it goes into, it does the pounds, it does the stones, and then it doesn't just do the little numbery things. It does the after ones, which confuses me a little bit. So I don't know whether I'll just ignore those. I don't know what to do. Or maybe I'll round up and round down if it's like the halves and the quarters. I'm just going to round up because that's going to be the easiest thing for me to do. And then I'll know every time, I think. I'll get used to it. So when I stepped on my scales, last week on my old scales, I was 19 stone 3 because I obviously had an increase of £9. When I stepped on my scales this week, I had 3 readings. One of them was 18 stone 7. One of them was 18 stone 8. The other one was 18 stone 10. So if I go with the heaviest, by my scales, I would have lost a ridiculous £7, which I'm not going by clearly because this is the reason I got new scales. When I stepped on the new scales, I was 19 stone exactly, but with a 0.02 at the end, or a 0.01, and they were the only differences in the readings. I think it was that 0.01 or 0.02, might have been 0.00, but I'm going to put it here so that you can see. But by my calculations, that is a loss of £3, but going off what my scales told me last week. So I don't know. I'm going to take that because after a £9 gain last week, even though I didn't use my scales, I'm not, and if I was going by my scales, I would have had a £7 loss, but they're not reliable. So I'm just going to do the new scales, and then at least next week I know that my reading hopefully is correct. So I'm going with a loss of £3 this week, and it's not just for me this week. It's not just the loss that I've had. I'm feeling better. I'm feeling and I know it sounds silly, in work we've got a couple of flights of stairs, and just going up and down those stairs, I've noticed that my knees are not hurting as much, and that is only with a couple of pounds. So it's the being prepared, it's the planning, and I want that to carry on because it's doing recipes. I've had a great time this week, not doing loads, but just doing a couple, and it makes me feel like I'm back in the zone. And that is only because I've literally put myself back there. And yeah, like I say, that is the best way for me anyway, and everyone is different, to deal with it, is just to get back on the horse. So this week I'm planning much the same as last week, meal prepping, and I'm not going to do it every single day because obviously if you're prepping then you've got a few meals there, even though I only ended up having one of the meals I prepped because Jeff had the other 2. So maybe I need to meal prep bigger. And this is something, if you've got or you've had a bigger family, is something that I quite easily do, is overestimate how much of things we need these days, because quite often it's just 2 or 3 of us for food. And when I've been cooking for 6 people for years and years and years, and then there's only 2 or 3 of us in the house to eat now, that takes a lot of getting used to. So if I I was trying to get into the routine of not cooking as much, but if I just carry on cooking as much as I was, and then I've got food prepped, ready. Makes sense. So that's my plan for this week. I hope everybody is doing okay, because I've seen some comments. Some people are doing really well, which is amazing. Some people are struggling to get back into things after Christmas, which I think is kind of normal for January and this time of year. But let me know how you're doing, how you're finding things, if you're doing any different things to what you were doing, and if you can give me any little tips on my meal prep, if you are a meal planner or prepper, because this is all new to me, but I like it. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next one.